Hi everybody, it's me, Jessica, your Health Fitness Program Manager from McLean, and today I'm going to guide you through a 30-minute express mind-body connection. We're going to start standing today. So if you're here early, get up from your chair, just start to find some motions that feel good for you. Start to just come into your breath. Move your body, maybe just make some circles with your wrists. We're gonna get started in just about 4 minutes at 12:15, but I encourage you, if you're already standing, to start just finding some movement, finding some stretches, already starting to slow your breath down from the day. Maybe you wanna put on some music that you love. Make sure you have some water nearby. We're not gonna have a specific water break because this is a very short class. However, I encourage you to be hydrated, have water or tea or coffee or whatever makes you feel good around. And we'll start in 4 amazing minutes. Thanks for coming today. Great, 3 more minutes. Just gonna this back a hint so that you'll be able to see me if you need to when we do get down on that floor. Give this a teeny little lower so you can see the floor a little better. Yay! Aromatherapy before we get started. 2 more minutes. Even though we're going to get started standing, if it feels good for you to just find a different seat, a different stretch. Oh my gosh, y'all. I wondered why Fred was being so good yesterday when I was teaching the evening class, and then I discovered that the new bag of peanuts was leaning against Fred's cage, and she had been secretly eating peanuts all day. I came upon her and I wondered how she had a peanut in her mouth that she had just saved, and I didn't realize till like 3 hours later that she just created her own little peanut source. So I'm going to try not to bribe the bird with nuts today because I think she's had a couple too many, right? There's an extra peanut sticking out of her cage that she still hasn't even eaten. She's just like drunk on peanuts. So daylight savings time, I'm definitely trying to figure out what the lighting situation is like in here during the day. I appreciate your understanding as we figure it out together. One of these days, someone who's good with a drill will help me to install those curtains I bought last year. But for now, let's just do the best with the bodies that we have today and the space that we have. So come to a standing position. Go ahead and firmly plant your feet down on the floor, maybe about hips width distance apart. Your hips are probably a little narrower than you think they are, so hips width distance apart is really about 2 fist width distance apart not all the way out wider than your shoulders. If it feels good to even bring your heels and toes together to really find a little bit more stability through your mermaid's tail. I want you to really focus on grounding equally through all four corners of your feet, and simply relax your arms down by your side. Feel free to close your eyes here, especially if your eyes are looking around the room at all of the things that you realize maybe you should have cleaned up or taken care of, or that you need to do for the rest of the day, and let the rest of the day come later. This is your time to just focus on yourself and your breath, get some stretches and some movement. Do your best to let go of any expectations. Really slowing down your inhale, taking a moment with those full lungs at the top, and the best you can, letting all of the stale air out on your exhale. Allow each breath to be a little bit fuller, longer, deeper, fresher. Notice that those shoulders are creeping up towards your ears on your inhale. I know mine are just a little bit. It's a sign of stress, so do your best to really find some heavy fingers down towards the floor to encourage your shoulders to relax away from your ears as much as possible. Find that nice neutral chin, so notice if you're stretching your chin up towards the ceiling or if it was tucked all the way down towards your chest. We'll take 3 more breaths here in mountain pose and stillness. All right, before we move on, I want to make sure that you're really finding true grounding of those feet through the floor, and ask yourself what's happening with your spine right now. I know a lot of people tend to have a little extra arch in their back. If that's you, take a moment to really squeeze those glutes, press those hips forward. Do your best to stack your shoulders on top of your hips and your ears on top of your shoulders, and we'll start moving from here. Go ahead, keep your left fingers down towards the floor. Take your right fingers and start to gently trace up your body. Maybe even your pinky finger gently grazes against your ear as you work to stretch your right arm up towards the ceiling. Feel that shoulder gently lift, start to feel some engagement through your back, and then exhale in the opposite direction, so bending your elbow, allowing that elbow to lead. Maybe your finger is grazed by your ear once again as your right hand reaches down towards the floor. Check in with your back. Did that extra arch come back in? I know it did for me, so once again, really ground through your heels, pull that lower belly in, core is contracted, glutes are squeezed, hips forward, chest is open, so start working towards squeezing your shoulder blades together, but keeping that rib cage knit together so you're not splaying yourself out towards the front. Everything is nice and tight, contracted. And let's go ahead and do the same motion with the left hand. So start to draw left thumb up towards your armpit, and then pinky finger can graze by your ear. Chin is still neutral as you reach up through your left hand. Start to find a nice stretch through the left side of the body. And then exhale, bend your elbow, allow the elbow to lead. Maybe your fingers graze by your ear once again, and arm reaches down towards the floor. One more time, nice and slow. Each side, begin with your inhale, bend your right arm, thumb comes towards your armpit, fingers graze against your ear. Stretch up, reach up. Start to feel that nice little tug on your abdominal core. And then change your breath as you relax that arm down. We'll go right into the other one, still focusing on squeezing the glutes, hips forward. Reach up. And then begin your exhale. Go ahead, relax it down. Let's do both hands at the same time. So inhale as you bend your elbows, thumbs come up to your shoulders. Palms facing in towards each other, stretch up. See if once your fingers are up towards the ceiling, if you can take that relaxation of your shoulders away from your ears. So working to create a little extra space there. Still finding that lift from your waist, just not finding the reach strictly from your shoulders. And then let's go ahead, bring it back down. One more time, squeeze your glutes, hips forward, belly in, chest open, rib cage knit together, bend those elbows, reach up towards the ceiling. Relax those shoulders from your ears, finding that length from your waist, maybe even a little bit more of a stress feeling in your back if it's feeling tense, and then exhale, relax it all the way down. Take a moment right here in your stillness once again. Notice if it's a little bit easier to come into your stillness, to find that relaxed breath now that we've been moving for just a couple of minutes. Go ahead, bring your hands, palms together at the center of your chest. Press into your hands, palms, work to get your elbows in line with each other, still squeezing the glutes, hips forward, shoulders relaxed away from your ears, shoulder blades squeezed together, back is active, glutes are active. Take your inhale, look up towards the ceiling. Take your exhale, tuck your chin down towards your chest. Only look up as much as feels good for your neck today. Inhale, look up, maybe trace a little line with your eyes on the ceiling. Exhale. Go ahead, bring that back down. 2 more times. Inhale, look up. Exhale, down. On this next inhale, we're going to bring our arms up overhead with us. Inhale. Stretch those arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, let's swan dive all the way down to the floor. So arms come out wide to the side with a nice flat back. You can take a generous bend of your knees as you need to. Fingers come down towards the floor. Let's inhale into a half lift. So straightening those legs out, pulling your shoulders away from your ears, finding as much length from your spine as you can. And then exhale back down into that forward fold. See if you can bring your belly to your thighs. Relax your head down to the floor. And from here, bend one knee at a time and then the other to start to get some movement in your hips, to start to bring a big stretch to the back of your legs. I know it's just a Tuesday, but perhaps you've been enjoying this beautiful weather outside this weekend wherever you are. Hopefully there was a little bit of sunshine and you got to get outside and enjoy it, and maybe you're just feeling a little tight after that. All right, let's slowly, gently roll ourselves back up towards the top. As you stack your shoulders over your hips, inhale those arms all the way up overhead. And exhale, relax your arms down by your side. Go ahead, step your feet out a little bit wider this time. So this time, feet about shoulders width distance apart. You might even want to turn your toes out to a 45-degree angle to help you find a nice stable base. We're going to enjoy a couple squats, a little bit more range of motion. So using our arms also, bend your knees as we inhale. Reach up towards the ceiling, and exhale, bend those knees again. Just swoop it on down. Fingers come to the shoulders. Inhale. Weight staying in your heels though. Exhale. Bring it on down. Just starting to warm up those inner thighs. 3 more. Inhale. Weight in your heels. Belly in. Lift up. Feel that stretch in your belly. Exhale. We're going to stay down here in 2 more breaths. Inhale up. Exhale down. Last time, we're going to come and hang out in Malasana horse pose. So inhale up. Exhale, come into that squat and transfer your hands to your thighs. Shift the weight in your heels and stretch your glutes back behind you. Go ahead, drop that right shoulder forward. Draw your left shoulder back. Take a big inhale. Lift yourself through center and exhale to the opposite side. Inhale back through center. Switch. You might even find you want to gently press your hands towards the inside of the thighs, especially towards the side that you're twisting to. Maybe bring those knees back a little bit more. Maybe sink yourself a little bit lower into your Malasana. Get a little bit more stretch into the quads, into the hip flexors, even into the glutes. Awesome. Release your hands down to the floor. Send your hips up towards the ceiling and turn those toes forward once more. You might even want to turn your toes in towards each other and start to walk your hands forward so that your weight of your glutes is right on top of your heels as opposed to stretching towards the back of the room. So feel free to walk those hands as far forward as you need to bring a little bit more weight towards the front of your foot this time. Working to press those heels down towards the floor. Let's take a nice little twist here. We'll start by just walking your hands over to the right side. You might find it feels good to even bend that right knee and shift your hips over to the right, straightening that left leg. Make sure you're keeping the outside edge of that left foot on the floor though, even if you shift your weight, that your pinky toe is not lifting up. And then let's come back, lift yourself up, still with the hands over towards the right side. Go ahead, bend that right knee, straighten that left leg, getting some nice big stretches on your inner outer thighs. One more time on this side. Walk it through center, over to the opposite side. No judgment, just enjoying the stretch. Once again, think about bringing that weight forward. So if you can't bring your hands all the way as close to your feet while having your weight forward, that's totally fine. You can always walk those hands forward, and then we'll once again take this nice little shift. So bending the left leg, straightening the right, making sure the outer edge of that right foot is on the floor. How flat of a back can you enjoy here while we're finding this stretch? Make sure you still have that lower belly pulled in so that your back continues to feel good. Nice work. Go ahead, walk those hands back through to center. Keep your left hand down on the floor. Inhale that right arm up towards the ceiling. Turn your chin towards that right shoulder. Take 3 breaths right here. How much can you really open your chest and stack one shoulder on top of the other? On your exhale, go ahead, release that right hand down towards the floor. Replace your right with your left, and inhale your left arm up towards the ceiling. Take a moment just reaching up towards the ceiling, and then really see how much can you open your chest. How much can you press into that hand on the floor and stack those shoulders. We're still getting a big stretch on the back of your legs. So if you need to take a little bend in your knees, that's okay. One more inhale here, exhale. Release those hands down to the floor. Go ahead and walk your hands even further out. Starting to walk ourselves into a down dog. You can keep your feet as wide as you need to. The wider your feet, the more stable your base is. Nice wide feet might make it a little bit easier also for you to work to bring your chest towards your thighs. Make any adjustments that you need to come into this down dog. And then feel free to pedal your heels. Maybe you pedal through one heel at a time. Maybe you raise both feet up. I know I like to press all the way into my toes to really enjoy some generous bends through the knees here. Do your best to bring your biceps by your ears and keep your chest squared down towards the floor. Take one more big inhale, and on your exhale, go ahead, bring those knees down to the floor, untuck your toes, coming into tabletop. Tuck your chin towards your chest, look towards your knees, towards your belly button, finding as much of a rounding through that back as possible, and then keep those arms straight. Keep those elbows almost locked as you come into the opposite direction. So finding an arch of that back, pulling your chest forward. Chest comes towards biceps, and use that range of motion that we practiced of lifting your chin up as much as possible. And then change, coming back into cat, as angry or as scary of a Halloween cat as you can be. Maybe even shaking your cat's tail. And then once more, go ahead, pass through to cow. Take a moment, bring your toes together, You can keep those knees nice and wide. We're just going to sit ourselves up, take some nice little stretches of those wrists to warm up our wrists a little bit better, to prepare to come back into down dog and get some nice stretches through our hips and our knees. Just a little bit more action for that upper body, shoulders. So maybe give yourself a couple shoulder circles right now. Maybe practice a couple mudras with your hand, pressing the back of your fingernails against the bottom of your thumb. Just encouraging and stimulating blood flow through your hands, through your wrists. All right, if you want to be a real winner, you can always tuck your t-shirt in right now, just so it doesn't get in the way. And then once again, go ahead, plant those hands on the floor, starting with a nice flat back. Before you do anything else, hands, palms in the floor, shoulders pulled away from your ear. Keep your left foot and knee down on the floor, and go ahead, extend your right leg back behind you. So we're applying a little bit more pressure on our wrist, and we're just going to stretch that calf out a little bit, pressing through the heel. You can gently rock your body back and forth. Find a nice side body stretch. Come back to center. Make sure your hips are squared to the mat so you're not opening, turning up to that extended leg behind you. Use your inhale to lift your heel up, and exhale to cross it over the left side of your body. Plant your hands down. Plant the ball of your foot down, press into your hands, palms, shoulders away from your ears, and with some nice long length of your spine, look over that left shoulder. Maybe you just see your shoulder, maybe you can see part of your glute, maybe you can look all the way back and see back to your foot. Take one more big inhale. On your exhale, go ahead, turn your head back to center. On your inhale, lift that right leg up. Release it back down towards the floor. Feel free to shake out your cat or cow's tail, whichever feels best for you, back into your neutral tabletop. If your wrists are feeling really uncomfortable, you can always make a knuckle and place those knuckles down on the floor. Find that length with your spine. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, pull your belly in, keep your right leg down on the floor, and use your inhale to extend your left leg behind you. So once again, just rocking back and forth gently, pressing through the heels, starting to warm up your calf. Come back to your stillness. Find that little squeeze of your glutes. It's engaged. Use your inhale to lift that leg up, and exhale to cross your left leg over the right side of your body. Make sure you don't sink into your shoulders. Find some length through the crown of your head on your inhale. And on your exhale, turn and look over that right shoulder. Maybe you're just looking in the direction of the shoulder. Maybe you can twist a little bit more. Maybe you see your glute. Maybe you see your foot. On your next exhale, gently turn yourself back forward. On your inhale, lift that left leg up. Go ahead, replace it down on the floor. Send your hips back towards your heels. Walk your hands forward. Take a moment, relax those shoulders and your wrists with a little bit of child's pose. Take some big breaths into the back side of your body. Feel the rib cage expand. From the back side, remember you can take as generous of a bend in your elbows in child's pose as feels appropriate for your body today. We'll just spend 2 more breaths here before we pull ourselves through. See if you can really slither like a snake on your mat, keeping that chest down towards the floor. So start off with a little puppy pose. Look forward with your eyes. Keep your chin close towards the mat as you start to lift your hips up. Getting that chest down towards the floor, getting that big stretch in your upper back. Pull yourself forward as we come into Cobra. You might need to walk your legs back. Option to be here in a nice little mini baby Cobra with your elbows down on the floor. Or if you want a little bit more of a stretch in your lower back, activation of that upper back, you can always place your hands, palms on the floor. Opening your hands a little bit wider can help. Awesome. Take a moment, relax yourself all the way down. Make a little diamond pillow with your hand. Bend your knees and windshield wipe your legs right and left, right and left. Relieve any tension that might have built up on those legs. Let's take a nice stretch while we're down here.
So go ahead, extend your left leg, keep your right leg bent and reach back. See if you can grab hold of your right foot. And bending the elbow, just working to bring that heel closer towards your glute. But I want you to actively stretch through your knee. So you're activating your quad. You're starting to feel a nice little stretch there. You can keep your head down on your hand. Or if you want, you can turn it more into a little bit of a, half bow pulling to really lift that leg up a little bit more to still find that stretch through the front of the quad. All right, go ahead, release that right leg. Let's switch it up with the left. So bending at the left knee, bringing that heel close towards your glute and reaching back, grabbing hold of your foot however feels comfortable. It can be from the inside, it can be from the outside. Option to just work and pull your heel closer towards your glute while actively squeezing glute, stretching that left knee towards the end of the mat, feeling a nice little stretch into the quad. We're even lifting it up a little bit higher, getting that back involved as well for some half bow. Use your exhale to relax yourself back down towards the floor. Bring your hands, palms underneath of your chest. Tuck those toes under. Let's press ourselves up into a plank. You can use your knees to press yourself up into a plank if you need to, but then tuck those toes under, send your hips up towards the ceiling, and we find ourselves coming back to down dog. Shorten your step as much as you need to. Take those generous bends of your knees. See if you can really use your exhale to bring those heels a little closer towards the floor this time. We're going to keep that left foot planted on the floor the best that you can. Really work to bring your belly towards your thighs and your biceps by your ears, and keep your chest squared down to the mat. So resist the urge to turn your chest in the direction of the leg we're going to lift. Then let's go ahead and inhale that right leg all the way up towards the ceiling. Make some circles in one direction, in the opposite direction, and really apply a little extra pressure through that right hand palm on the floor to make sure that you don't open your chest in that direction. Go ahead, exhale, release your right foot back down towards the floor, and inhale, lift that left leg up. Once again, really square your chest. So resist the urge to turn in the direction of that lifted leg. Make some circles with your ankle in one direction. Make some circles in the opposite direction. Go ahead, release that left foot back down towards the floor. Go ahead and walk your hands up to your feet, or your feet up towards your hands. We're going to take a moment and just hang out here in a dangle. So transferring a little bit more weight forward to your toes, but still working to have those heels down to the floor. Remember, you can take a generous bend in your knees if you need to, and shift a lot more weight to the floor so that you can feel supported here in this stretch. Head relaxes down towards the floor. Grab hold of your opposite elbow. See if you can use your exhale to lift those hips up a little bit higher. And from here, gently just sway side to side with those elbows, starting to bring the stretch once again into our hamstrings, into the sides of our legs. Awesome. Place your hands down on the floor. Come into that nice flat back. If you can't place your hands on the floor, you can always place your hands on your thighs. We're just going to heel toe those feet out a little bit wider, and heel toeing out to just wider than mat width distance apart with the hands on the floor. Exhale. Release yourself down into a squat. Can you bring your hands, palms up to the center of your chest? It's okay if you need to keep your hands on the floor. You might even want to gently just shift your weight right and left. A little mini version of Skandasana here in our Malasana. I like to, as I shift right and left, really, while my weight is over on my left side, open that right knee back a little bit more, really working to find that stretch. Once again, in the hip flexor, inner outer thigh, feeling it in the quads. Awesome. Let's bring a bigger stretch right here. So really work to bring your heels towards the floor. We're going to keep the left hand down. Left elbow is pressing against the inside of the left leg, and reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Feel that in your low back, and then exhale, release your right hand down towards the floor. Inhale, left arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring both hands down to the floor. Press into those outer thighs. Release your glutes towards the mat. A little bit more. Bring your hands, palms up towards your chest. We're going to inhale, arms up overhead. Find a big exhale. Release glutes down towards the floor. Eyes lifted. Inhale, stand yourself up. Exhale, turn your toes forward. Heels invisible behind your toes. One more big inhale. Lift up and exhale. Rain yourself to half lift. Exhale back into that forward fold. Go ahead, turn those toes out once more. Sit yourself down into a squat. Last time. Shift your weight gently right and left. Find what feels good for you. Option to find one more twist right here, or just keep shifting or hanging out in your squat. Let's do the opposite arm first. So right arm stays down on the floor. Send that left arm up towards the ceiling. It's okay if both of your heels aren't entirely touching the floor. We're just doing the best we can with the bodies we have. Let's go ahead, switch to the opposite side. Bring both of those hands down towards the floor. Really work to get those heels down. Bring your elbows towards the inside of your thighs. Press into those inner thighs with your elbows. Use your inhale, find your flat back. Use your exhale, relax your glutes down towards the floor. Inhale, send those arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, press through your heels. Stand yourself up. Go ahead, heel toe those feet in closer towards each other, either hips width distance apart or touching. And then exhale, bring your hands back down to heart center in Namaskar. Take a couple breaths right here. Come back to your stillness, squeeze your glutes, push those hips forward. Go ahead, inhale those arms up overhead as you heel toe your feet closer together if they weren't already touching. You can have your palms together. Exhale, release your hands, palms just facing towards each other. Bring the weight into your heels, sit your hips back. Take a moment in chair pose. Really shift your hips towards the back of the room. One more big stretch into those quads. Inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, relax your arms down by your side. Go ahead, lift up your left leg if you need to find some balance somewhere. Take one more stretch into the quad and the hip. So to really get into your hip a little bit more with this quad stretch, make sure that your knee is not just pointing down, but see if you can even gently point your knee towards the mat behind you. The more that you find the stretch down and back, the more you're gonna find that opening of the hip. You gotta squeeze that standing glute and squeeze through the glutes of the leg that's lifted and really press through the heel of your standing foot. Take one more big inhale. Exhale, let's release it forward, come into a single leg chair pose. Really send those hips back. Open that outer knee towards the floor, just a little bit of practice with balance. Inhale up to mountain pose, so send those arms up overhead. Separate those hands. Exhale back into chair pose. Send those hips back, keep that chest lifted the best you can. On your next inhale, lift yourself up, relax your arms down by your side. This time, pick up your other leg. Let's get that quad stretch and that hip opener on the opposite side. So once again, shoulders relaxed away from ears. Belly pulled in nice and tight. Squeeze those hips, push your hips forward. Stretch that knee down and towards the back of the room. Wow, big stretch. 2 more breaths right here, and then we'll release and come into our figure 4. So take your time, gently release. Try not to let that foot fling. Move with intention. Cross it over in the front. Shift the weight to your heel. Sit yourself down. Stretch your glutes towards the back of the room. Stretch that outer knee down towards the floor. Take 2 more breaths. On your next inhale, lift yourself up, stretch those arms up overhead. Exhale, open your hands, relax your arms down by your side, come back into mountain pose right where we started, palms facing in towards the body, feet ground down towards the floor. Shoulders relaxed away from your ears, stacked over your hips, ears stacked over shoulders, glutes are engaged, hips are pressed forward. Just taking 3 more breaths together in stillness and silence. Take a moment to once again bring your hands, palms up to the center of your chest with your thumbs touching on your sternum. Tuck your chin to your chest. Take a moment to honor yourself. I hope you feel so proud of yourself for just taking this little bit of time today to check in with your breath, to incorporate some stretches into your work day. Hopefully you finish this class just feeling even a little bit better, hopefully a lot better, more flexible, fluid, open, free than when you started. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I said or that we did today, I hope that you will reach out. Can't wait to see you all again soon. Tomorrow will be a delightful yin yoga class. Have a beautiful rest of your day, everyone.